Well, good afternoon, everyone. Thanks for inviting me to give a BBC. I was really excited to give the talk, and then after I realized the quality that I had to keep up with, it was actually quite preoccupying in my mind for the last 3 days. So it's taken me a little bit out of my retreat. I've been here for 2 weeks doing a personal retreat on the practice of Guru Yoga, and it's been a beautiful retreat. I first want to just acknowledge just the wonderful environment that's been created here. I know there's a lot of energy and time and rotas created in order to maintain the schedule, but I just wanted to share kind of how it impacts my mind being here, not having to actually think about what I'm going to do every day. I know I can just wake up and look at a board that's always accurate, even though it changes all the time. And see what the day is going to look like, and then that someone else is going to tell me what project I'm going to work on when I'm offering service, and I know when when the meals are going to be served and all those things. There's a huge value in that. It really helps me to see how much energy and time I spend thinking about those kinds of things and how preoccupied that my mind can be with that. And being able to let go of that has really been created this beautiful environment for me to really dive deeply into this practice. Also, it's been about 2 years since I've been at the Abbey, and I just want to say you all have really stepped up your BBC game. There is a lot of pressure here in order to try to keep the bar where it is. So I think that is just an incredible testament to the work and the practice that you all are doing here, to Venerable's wonderful teachings, and to the merit that you all are accumulating here and around the world, really. As I got to offer service by making CD covers for the recordings of Venerable teachings that were sent to the prisoners all over the place. So I know that there's a lot of work going on beyond the Abbey as well. So I chose to speak today about my experience with this retreat around Guru Yoga, which I think has a lot of misconceptions in the West, and I know I've had to work through a lot of those myself. And I really appreciate the way that Venerable Chodron talks about it in talking about relying on your spiritual guide. I think that's a really accurate way of capturing what's meant by Guru Yoga, and so I guess I just first want to say the impact of the retreat that it's had on me. I came in to the retreat really pretty burned out. It's been a really tough year and a long kind of 4 years for me, doing a lot of worldly activities, which I really am glad I did, but really pushed the limits of what I can do. And doing this retreat and focusing on the kindness of my teacher and really relying through these meditations on that kindness and guidance, I've really seen my mind just open up in ways very quickly that I didn't anticipate. And so I kind of went from not really being connected to my purpose anymore and feeling burned out to just being very clear and getting a lot of really clear next steps coming out of this retreat for me in my personal life. And I really attribute that to making these really strong requests to my teacher and doing these practices and really developing the intelligent faith that is the first step in Guru Yoga, and then remembering the kindness of your teacher and then putting that into action. And really the highest level is just offering your practice and your learning and your understanding of that to your teacher. And so I started Buddhism when I was 14, and I met my kind root guru, Gaelic Rinpoche in Michigan, where I grew up. And I was named after my grandfather, and he was a scientist and a teacher. And I grew up as his shadow, following him around his cottage, and then also out in the woods. And I really just developed this very strong view around critical thinking and facts and the scientific method. So I was a very concrete person. And in that way, Tibetan Buddhism I really connected with the Lam Rim and the analytical meditations and the critical thinking of Tibetan Buddhism. But when I started this path, I had a lot of obstacles and obscurations to a lot of the rituals and also to Guru Yoga and other things like that, because it felt a little cultish. I wasn't really sure what I was signing up for. It didn't make sense to me. And so as in thinking about this retreat and this talk in the last couple of days, I kind of think about it if I could write myself a letter. Sorry, it's actually been kind of an emotional day. If I could write myself a letter from now into the past, I'd really say that the most important thing that you can do is to see your spiritual teacher as an enlightened being. And even if you can't do that all the time, which I still can't, just please do it while you're in the teachings. And the reason that it's so emotional for me is because part of this teaching has been to really remember the kindness of your teacher, and so I took that very personally. And there's this long list that you go through in the practice, and about 10 points. And every point, I had multiple examples of the kindness that I've received from Gelek Rinpoche in the beginning of my practice, and now Venerable Chodron. And I just really realized how my life has been saved, and also how much magical things I've been exposed to as a result. So I'm sorry I'm getting really emotional about it, but it's been the whole morning, actually. Many days of the last 2 weeks. So I guess I wanted to share a few of those stories because I feel like those stories actually really help to show why I feel have so much reliance now on the Guru and can make really strong requests. And my hope is that people who started the path like I did, being very skeptical and being very kind of attached to the logic of things and what you can really see, can really help to develop this kind of intelligent faith that's there. And I think intelligent faith is a really interesting framing. The first framing on it, the first pass that I had with it was, it's intelligent faith because you don't just blindly follow somebody, right? When you are searching for a teacher, you're supposed to first look at their qualities before you accept teachings, and look at the qualities of the students and whether they're developing along the path as they should. And then you're supposed to try out their teachings and see how it impacts your mind. And I did all of that, and that really did help me develop a very strong trust in my teacher. But then the other part of intelligent faith, it's really about developing the view of seeing your teacher as an enlightened being. And the intelligence behind that is because it allows you to benefit. And so it's really a choice of, do you want to get all of the benefits of the teachings or not? And the way that I think about that in my personal experience is, when I've been able to hold the view that whoever is teaching me the Dharma is an enlightened being, or at least the manifestation of that enlightened being, I notice that my mind completely opens up, and I let go of all of my obscurations, and I can actually fully get the full advantage of whatever is being taught. And I've seen that in many different ways. And the best example of that for me was in one of the retreats. Gelek Rinpoche was doing a oral transmission of the Liberation in the Palm of Your Hand, which is Pabanka Rinpoche's classic text or commentary on the Lam Rim. And he was running out of time because he likes to tell a lot of stories. And so at the end, he just read in Tibetan for like 2 or 3 hours to make sure we got the entire oral transmission. And so there have been times where things have happened where I don't really understand what's happening, and I get kind of bored and kind of start looking at my watch or just try not to fall asleep. And this time I had the introspective awareness to take the opportunity to just visualize him as a Buddha, and that light was coming into my body, and that the complete teachings of the Lam Rim were being passed on to me. And I just tried to focus on that for as long as I could. And the blessing that I received from that I feel is that ever since then, the Lam Rim has made perfect sense to me. I've had no real obstacles in understanding Lam Rim. Now, I can't remember it all, and the 7 of this and the 4 of that and all that kind of thing. I don't have that. But when I hear the teachings of the Lam Rim, I feel that the understanding and the level of confusion that it causes has completely gone away. And so it's that kind of mind that I think makes all the difference. And there's a quote from Geisha Potawa that said, "Whether the blessings of the Lama are going to be big or small doesn't depend on the Lama, it depends on the receiver. If you don't have the remembrance of the kindness and you don't have the intelligent faith, then even if Manjushri, Avalokiteshvara, and Avalokiteshvara appear in front of you, they can do nothing to you. But if you have profound respect and intelligent faith, then even if the master, him or herself, is not fully qualified, you obtain the blessings of the total of the enlightened beings." And I would say that every time that I've run this experiment in my mind, I've found that I've gotten great benefits from it, from developing that view. And the reason I also think it's intelligent is that you don't lose anything because of it, right? If you're going to go to a teaching, why not get the most out of it? You don't have to do anything afterwards. You don't even have to listen to the personal advice of your teacher if you're still not sure, right? But why not see them as an enlightened being? And the more that you develop that view, the more you get that benefit, I think, really. So I have a lot of other things I could say, but I think that is the major one. So thank you for listening to me, and I'm sorry I was a little bit of a mess in the beginning.